Afternoon, everyone. Welcome into our last talk of the business innovation track for this morning. It's a great turnout for the last talk, so I'm just going to take a quick picture and mock the other business, mock the other tracks with it. Please give a big smile to everybody. I'll show you, sir. And the other track, obviously. So, I'm going to introduce Zuby. Zuby is quite clearly the coolest person in the room. Everything I say is going to make me feel so untrendy now. It's going to be ridiculous. Zuby's an anomaly in hip-hop. Through years of hard work and dedication, he's become one of the UK's most accomplished independent rappers, selling over 25,000 albums with our record here. I'm very excited to hear this. Zuby, I'm taking no more of your time. Please take it on.
Thank you. Well, it's a good turnout. Thank you all for being here. So, quick introduction. My name is Zuby. I'm a full-time independent professional rapper and creative entrepreneur. I do a whole bunch of different things. I run a podcast which I started this year called Real Talk with Zuby. I've sold over 25,000 albums without a record label, reached over 100,000 social media followers online, and 5 million plus views in total across the internet. I'm also an Oxford University graduate. I studied computer science. I worked as a management consultant after that for a couple of years before taking a big leap in 2011 to go do my music full time. So I told my parents after getting that Oxford degree and being a consultant, I was going to go become a full-time rapper, so my parents are really proud of me. So today we're going to be talking about social media. I've been on it for a very long time, since way back in the MySpace days. I've been on Facebook since 2014. I've been on Facebook for 15 years, Twitter for 10 years, YouTube since it's all kind of depressing really when I look at the numbers. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about social media, some of the things that I've learned, where I think things are going, where things are now, and spreading some tips and ideas. So whether you're an independent person, you're just an individual, or you're a brand, or you're a business, whatever you're doing, I think that social media can provide a ton of value to you. So we're going to get into that. So in the keynote, Ruby talked about some of these figures, so I'm not going to go through them in too much detail. Some of the key ones: over 4 billion people online worldwide right now, 3.2 billion of them plus using social media. Right there you've got some of the stats for some of the biggest platforms. Facebook, well over 2 billion. YouTube, over 2 billion. These are active users, by the way, active monthly users, so there's probably more people using them, period. And so you've got some of the other ones there. Instagram, billion. TikTok, I don't know if you're aware, is 500 million users. A lot of older people are not into that because it's mainly for teens, but that's pretty interesting. I know lots of people here are going to be using things like Reddit and Twitter, and then you've also got Snapchat. There's loads more, but I thought those are some of the key ones. Those stats at the bottom there, really, really important as well. So it shouldn't surprise people. 2 hours, 22 minutes per day is how long the average person is spending using social media. So that sounds pretty crazy, but that's a pretty large and significant percentage of waking hours. Oh, one thing I want to say, I want to leave time at the end so that if people have questions, love, hate, anything, we can deal with that all at the end. So I'm going to go through some of this quite quickly, get onto the tips, and then I want to open it up to the floor. So here are some more stats there. I'm not going to go through them all and read them out in massive detail, but for the business-minded people amongst you, people who want to create brands, personal brands, whatever it is, some of those numbers there are good to know. So social media advertising spend is projected to reach $89 billion worldwide this year, and that is just going up and up and up every year. Lots of the companies that have been traditionally advertising on TV, on radio, all that kind of stuff, they're realizing that social media is powerful and it's very undervalued as well. So they're turning their direction more towards social media, kind of dipping a foot in. Lots of techie companies have kind of dived in rather than dipping their toe in, but some of the older, more traditional industries, they're only now sort of starting to see the value of it and see where it's going. So those are some interesting things to know. So where are we going now? We've talked about where we are in the present. These are some of the projections for the future. So it's predicted by the year 2030, there's going to be 7.5 billion internet users, which is going to represent 90% of the projected world's population. Like, dwell on that. 90% of the world's population is going to be on social media in 11 years. That's what's projected. So I think everybody in this room should be thinking about how they can position themselves to take advantage of that. Just as in the Western world, we've had this massive wave of mobile phones and the internet and then social media, which is combining all these things. That wave, I don't think everyone is always aware of this, but that wave is going to happen again in the next decade. So loads of the countries and the people in Africa, in Asia, in South America, this wave we've already experienced, that's going to happen again. So there's going to be way more people coming online. And so again, if you're an individual or a brand, you want to be thinking about how you can position yourself in that. What are some of the other trends that are happening? Video is rising in popularity. I don't know the YouTube stats off the top of my head, but an insane amount of video is uploaded every second on YouTube and watched every minute of the day. Stories are growing extremely quickly. That's on Snapchat, on Instagram stories, on WhatsApp. YouTube now has YouTube stories. I think it's too many story platforms to be, in my personal opinion, but stories are growing and they're very popular. If you talk to a lot of teenagers, you'll see they're moving away from platforms like Facebook. They're more likely to be on TikTok, on Instagram, on Snapchat. So depending on your demographics and depending on who you're trying to reach and what you do, we're going to talk about that a little bit more later on. You want to think about which platforms you're using. It's good to be on all of them, but what I personally recommend is kind of having a focus on mastering one or two and seeing which ones are really giving you a good return on your investment, and then having a lighter presence on some of the other ones, because managing it all, if you don't have a team, can be a real full-time job. We've also got social e-commerce. That's something that's going to grow. Influencer marketing, going to become way more popular and way more profitable over the next couple of years. And you've also got things like virtual reality, augmented reality, Oculus Rift. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff that's coming down the pipeline. So what's the best platform for you? I think it depends a lot on the way that you communicate and the audience that you're trying to reach. Facebook, there's no need to dwell on that. Everyone knows Facebook. Kind of everybody is on it. It's worth every business, every individual having a presence on there to some degree. Twitter, I recommend highly for writers, readers, conversationalists. So if you're good with words, if you like to read, you like to consume words, and you're good at putting them out there, I highly recommend Twitter. Twitter's also, in my personal opinion, Twitter is the best actual social network because you can reach anybody and everybody. You can join conversations, you can talk about anything, you can put videos, you can put photos, you can just put words, whatever you want. Everybody loves Instagram. I'm not a huge Instagram fan because I'm much more of a word person being a rapper than I am a visual person. And I don't like to have to post a photo every time I want to say something. But Instagram is massively popular. I would recommend massively if you are a photographer, you're into video, you're a model, you're just like a pretty person, you've got a nice six-pack, whatever it is, Instagram is your place. It's amazing for personal branding. Also, like restaurants, food companies, anyone who does stuff that's very visual based, Instagram is extremely powerful. You've also got Instagram stories, you've got Instagram TV, and they've also got a whole bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline as well. If you are good on video, YouTube. It doesn't matter if you're doing educational videos or entertainment videos. YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the entire world after Google. That's something that I'm sure many people in this room know, but a lot of people in the wider scheme of things don't know. So if you're a business or you're an individual, again, having some sort of presence and audience on YouTube, as well as I'd also say Facebook video as well, because you can see Facebook is starting to shift into that. So that's the time for the land grab. So if you want to establish yourself, if you feel like you missed the YouTube train over the last sort of 15 years or so, approximately 15 years, and you want to jump and grab some attention there, I think that both Instagram TV and Facebook video are good places to be. And then if you are targeting a younger demographic, TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram is really where it's at. That's what they're using. All those platforms, if you're a more serious techie kind of person, you might be like, these things are silly, there's no point in them. And you may be right. You know your audience better than I do. But it's worth investigating the different channels and seeing what works best for you. See where you get the engagement, see where your audience is, see where the conversation is. There's a whole bunch more as well. I haven't talked about Pinterest. You've got Pinterest as well. You've got Reddit. Does anyone here use Reddit? I'd imagine quite a few people here use Reddit, yeah? Actually, let's go through these. So who here uses Facebook? Everybody, essentially. Twitter? About everybody. Instagram? Most. YouTube? Okay. Snapchat? A few. Anyone use TikTok? Yeah, okay. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, I think it's good to have some sort of presence on pretty much all of these platforms. I've certainly made the mistake. Like I told you, I started out in social media back in the MySpace and High Five days, and I can tell you now that I created my YouTube account in 2006. I created my Instagram account in 2011, and I didn't start using either of them in earnest until realistically about 5 years after the time I joined them, and that was a huge error on my part, because I could probably have had like hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers by now if I'd, if you're an early adopter, it's a great place to be. So also keep an eye out for other platforms and things that are upcoming, especially if it's within your niche. It's worth, dipping your toe in there, giving it a shot. I know there's so many platforms that can feel really, really tiring to be trying out new things. But if you keep hearing about something new, it's worth investigating it and see if maybe it can add something to your business or your brand. So what I want to talk about now is some tips from my own personal experience about what I think works really well on social media. I've tried to keep all these things a little bit loose so that you can work out how best these apply to your own business and what you're doing. My number one there is to be authentic. This gets me into plenty of trouble. If you want to know how to deal with online ranger mobs, I am your man. But be authentic, okay? Because it doesn't mean you have to put out every single thought you have out there. It doesn't mean you have to be super duper controversial if that's not what you are. You don't need to be clickbaity or anything like that. But I think whether you're an individual or a business, we're all human beings. People like to hear other people's opinions, right? If you're a company or you follow companies online, the ones that are best on social media are the ones that you can tell that it's a human being who's tweeting the stuff or who's posting the things on Facebook or whatever. They get people involved, they create conversations, they ask questions. So it's important to be authentic, and following on from that, to write the same way that you talk. So if you tweet as if it's an academic paper, it's going to be really boring. No one wants to go on there and watch a YouTube video and there's no entertainment value. It's just like someone reading, just feels like a lecture, shall we say. So it's good to just be yourself. So the same way you talk to your friend, same way you talk to somebody in this room, I think you should tweet the same way. I think you should be on Instagram the same way. I think you should do Facebook stuff the same way. Check if you work for like a big corporation or something, like check with them before you get yourself in trouble. But yeah, and also this is especially big for individuals and people trying to build a personal brand. Is share the unique stuff that you do. Everybody in this room has different interests. There's a lot of stuff that you do which goes beyond your job. You've got hobbies, you've got interests. You might think some of them are weird and wacky or whatever, or people might not be interested in them. But given the scope of the number of people who are online, you will be amazed at how you will just find your tribe, right? You've got YouTube channels where someone just you've got Star Wars channels on YouTube that are making 7 figures a year. Okay, you've got people who specialize in eye makeup who are making 6 figures a year. You've got people who talk about 80s TV shows, or who review films, or who review fried chicken restaurants. Like whatever your weird interest is, there are people out there who will be interested in it. I mean, look at the whole gaming space, right? A decade ago, it would have sounded weird that you'd have this massive industry of people playing video games and people watching them play video games. But who's the biggest YouTuber in the world? PewDiePie. You've got guys like KSI, and I'm not really even super into that space, but in any sector, they've all got their superstars. And it's going to continue going in that way. The world is changing. It's not going to go back. The next up, this is a big one, is educate and entertain. So anytime you put out a piece of content, if you want people to respond to it, you want to engage people, you want to think about, is this entertaining or is this educating? And if you can do both, even better. Lots of my favorite channels on YouTube are things that are both educational and entertaining. So if you can nail those two things, whether it's in the world of tech or digital, whatever it is that you do, then I think that there's a lot of space there in whatever niche it is, that you can be a unique voice, you can be authentic, you can talk to people, you can entertain people, and you can share that passion with people, and that adds a lot of value to people's lives. The next one there we've got is document when you can't create. So it's easy to hit what feels like a mental block when you're trying to create content, because it feels like you always have to be super creative, especially like myself. You know, I'm a musician, but I can't put out a new music video every day. I probably could write a song every day, but I don't write a song every day. So in the meantime, what I can do though is I can just document what I'm doing. So for example, today I'm at the tech conference. So on my social media channels, I've been sharing, I'm doing a talk at this conference. And given the amount of followers I have online, there may be more people who end up seeing that there will be more people who see that than there are people in this room. So you can just document everything you're doing. If you're working at a startup, if you're creating a company, if you are doing coding, you're creating something, whatever it is, document the process, share the process. Don't just wait until you've got the final product before you show people what's happening, right? Just document the entire process, and people can learn from that, people will engage with that, and again, that also helps people. My next point there, I've touched on it. Controversy works. I'll put, if that's you, don't fear it. So this is not encouraging everyone to go out there and post the most inflammatory stuff that they have on their brain. But you know who you are. So in linking to the first point, being authentic, if you've got something that you want to say, or you want to put something out there, or you've got something that's, this might generate a little bit of whatever, then it's up to you. This is not advice, right? But if you want to put that out there, you can go and do it. Be consistent, focus on engagement, and 80-20 content mix. What I mean by that is you don't want to be selling all the time. You don't want to be promoting. You want about 80 to 90% of your content to be non-promotional, non-salesy. You just want to be building a connection and engaging people, and then you can do 20%, you can go for the sales. These are some ideas on how you can build a following. I'm not going to spend too long on this slide, but to go through a couple of them quickly. Help solve people's problems, put a lot of stuff out there, freestyle. You'll be surprised by what it is that catches attention. I'll give you an example of that later on. Respond to every single comment. That's a big one. Especially if you don't have millions and millions of followers, make sure you respond to people. Everyone's always trying to expand their audience, but look at who's already there and make sure that you talk to them. Make sure they're engaged. Make sure you show gratitude, say thank you, and let them know that they care, right? If you start a brand new YouTube channel and you put up a video and it gets 12 views, if 2 people leave a comment, make sure you respond to those 2 people. Make sure you know that they are valued. Join and create conversations, and also just be patient. This stuff, it all takes a long time. It takes a really long time to build a following, to find your voice, so give it some time. Okay, I don't know if anyone saw this. This has changed my life. So I posted this tweet on the 26th of February right there. This piece of content, which had nothing to do with my music, was the most effective thing I've ever put out on the internet. So I posted a video of me doing a deadlift in the gym, and the video got 1.35 million views, 14,241 retweets, 48,037 likes. It was featured on Good Morning Britain. I had radios with BBC Radio 1, BBC 1, Sunday Times, Fox News. It was on the Joe Rogan Experience. I've gained about 45,000 followers off of this 9-second video. So as I was saying about freestyling and being authentic and putting out stuff that may make people feel a little, it can work. It can work. And this obviously was not directly related to my music, but so many people have discovered my music and what I do and everything else off of the back of it. And it's what I like to do online is create conversations. So this created a massive conversation, not just in the UK, but globally and internationally. This was actually featured in the US Congress as well. One of the Republican senators actually brought this up when they were talking about certain issues. So yeah, you just put things out there, you never know what is going to stick. So final words, remember you're interacting with human beings, okay? I know people are just little avatars online, but always remember you're talking to a human being. Be authentic, be consistent, be patient, and most of all, have fun with it. Okay, there we go. So any questions? I want to leave 5 minutes so you can talk to me. Any questions? Yes, Ruby.
Hi there. Great presentation. I so wish you'd wrapped the whole of your presentation.
Oh, wow.
As well. So in my view, and I think you agree, there's no such thing as bad publicity, okay? Because you've worked on publicity from a different angle, and you've got more followers. But I'm a user of Twitter more, okay? And I slowly started to wean off Twitter because I've got the view that, and I haven't, maybe you've got an answer for this, okay? How do you avoid the echo chamber? Okay, so it's only the same sort of people that are following you, the same sorts of people with the same views. They're just echoing and rebounding. Maybe that point you had about controversy. May assist that. Have you got any tips on how to avoid?
How to avoid an echo chamber? Follow a lot of people you disagree with. Is that simple, right? People end up in echo chambers because, I mean, I get this all the time. I'll get a rush of followers, and you know, after that video, I was gaining 1,000 followers. I was literally gaining about 100 followers an hour for several days. And, you know, a lot of people followed because they kind of like, you know, they were interested in the point made in that video or whatever. And then the next day I tweeted something they disagree with. And they're like, oh, I'm unfollowing you now, right? And a lot of people do that. And as a result, it means that people only end up, over time, people only end up following people who they agree with. So people are going to end up in echo chambers sometimes to some degree. I mean, it happens in the real world as well. You know, it happens in the real world as well. It's why, you know, lots of people who live in London didn't see Brexit coming. Lots of people who live in California or who live in New York didn't see Trump coming. I saw both of those things coming because I'm kind of annoyed I didn't put money on them. But it's because I follow a ton of people and I'm involved in a whole bunch of different conversations. So I would just say, just follow a lot of people and try to be open-minded as open-minded as you can. You know, try not to write people off because you don't disagree with them on that point or disagree with them on that point. If you think they're just like completely have nothing of value to add, then you might not want to follow them. But there are smart people. You were talking about diversity in your talk, and I think diversity of opinion is something that's grossly, I think that's the most important form of diversity. Different viewpoints, different opinions. You know, sometimes people are going to bump heads, but oftentimes everybody has their blind spots. And you can fill them in by having a range of different opinions. So that's my personal thought on that. Tony.
Are people going to be able to buy one of my top 3 favourite albums from you during the lunch break?
Good question. Yes, I will have my latest album available for sale if anyone does want to get a copy. I forgot my card reader, but if you've got cash, then we'll do it. I'll sign it for you as well. That's fine. There was someone up there?
Yeah, I'm just adding to Ruby's point. So you're following a lot of people, you're listening to an awful lot of conversations, some which you don't agree with. How do you deal with that information overload?
Wow. Firstly, I remember that it's just Twitter. If it's Twitter, like, you know, I've had times where every couple days I get like a mob after me, right? Because I'm a little bit contentious on there. But I don't worry. How would I put it? How do you, sorry, ask the question one more time.
So how do you deal with information overload?
Information overload. Unplug once in a while. You know, this is the crazy thing with social media. It's really valuable, but it's also very addictive, and it's designed to be addictive. So it's using the tool and not letting the tool use you. That's the best way I try to think about it. So if you do find that you're getting like a twitch to like look at your phone for no reason, or you're standing somewhere and you've just checked your phone and 2 minutes later you get the urge to check it again, even though there's like, just be conscious of it. And but yeah, I'd say kind of exist in the real world and then use the online social media stuff as an extension to that. Don't let that completely define you, or, you know, because people are always going to be, people will say things online that they won't say in real life. Everyone's a lot more kind and polite to each other in real life because there's more human empathy. That's one of the worst things of social media, in my opinion, is that people get so amped up that they say things that they wouldn't, you know, say if they were in front of that person. So that's why I had that point of, remember, you're talking to a human being, you know. So just try to think about how you interact with that person. If it were real life, you know, you probably wouldn't tell them to, I don't know.
So you quoted the average of like 2 hours of average average social media time a day.
Yeah.
So I set my FaceTime limit to 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
Fixed screen time. So how much time do you find you spend?
Oh, good grief. I'm above that average. It depends on what I'm doing though. So I have periods where I'm not on it a lot. If I'm spending a lot of time online, then it might go up to 4 hours a day. But it depends on what you're trying to do though. So with me, as an artist, obviously I'm trying to promote what I do. I'm also writing a book at the moment, so I've been promoting and selling that on Twitter. And yeah, I'd say if you're just consuming, then you certainly want to.
I'm almost all producing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was going to say,
I just don't like to.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I think as a producer, you're not going to be able to, if that's your tool. Like if your thing is, if you're a YouTuber, you're going to be spending a lot of time on YouTube and on other socials. If it's just an extension of what you're doing, then yeah, you can be a little bit more detached from it. Yes.
I'm wondering how you've got a top tip, how you could use social media to create local partnerships. Because obviously the great thing about social media is that it's worldwide, but how do you use it effectively to create that local collaboration partnerships?
Local collaboration. I would say find conversations. Find people and conversations in your local area. Is there any particular platform you're looking to do it on? Because most of them have tools that.
Well, I think Instagram's one of them. Obviously building from Instagram.
Yeah.
Followers, often they're overseas and not necessarily collaborations that might be useful in terms of increasing the amount of followers.
Yeah. On Instagram, I believe you can search by location. So you can see what's happening in location, or you could even just put in the hashtag of whatever city or region you're in, and you can see what's coming up in there, and then you can be a lot more specific in your targeting. So you might find people who are in that space, and again, you can follow people, you can DM people, join conversations. It's a process. It's not something that happens like that, unfortunately. But if you are based in Plymouth, say, you could search hashtag Plymouth, see what's happening there, and join those conversations. And we'll do one more. Yep.
Can we please have a freestyle rap about future sync?
Oh, good grief. Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. I'm not even in freestyle mode right now. Okay, let me think. Let me spit it off the top. I'm going to have a little think. I'm right here in this room presenting at Future Sync. Off the top of the dome, this is just your boy Zuby. Yeah, you know me. I'll be up here freestyling. I might bring up my homeboy Tony, because you know how we be doing. I just keep on flowing. I keep going and going, not taking nothing I'm knowing, till I'm old and I'm slowing and not be done with my flowing. And you know how I'll be going. I'm a real-time hitter. Make sure you follow me at Zuby Music on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram. Yeah, I do it for the fam. And I've got an ace this look. And you can also catch me on YouTube and on Facebook.